Hello and welcome to the Hellraiser blog. Today's Hellraiser blog, we're going to look at Fury versus Wilder 2, massive fight coming up for the world heavyweight, for the WBC and lineal world heavyweight title. Had my first show, you see this snazzy backdrop, my first show of the year last Thursday at Mayfair Sporting Club in South Kensington at the Millennium Hotel, and we were kindly sponsored by Gloucester Road Grosvenor Casino. Please don't come at me with you sold out, you've allowed gambling companies to sponsor your blog. Listen, please, if you're going to gamble responsibly. I'm absolutely in favour of that, but allow us the freedom to do what we want with our lives. You know, I like gambling, and a lot of people who watch the blog like gambling, so we roll with that. So back to the blog. Right, Fury versus Wilder, fight that I'm tremendously excited about. Fury's last two performances haven't been that impressive. Otto Wallin and Tom Schwartz, both fights sort of showed frailties in Fury, and they didn't really highlight his strengths. Maybe the entrance, the ring entrance against Schwartz was pretty spectacular, and would have got a lot of attention and people getting interested and built the reputation of Fury. But actually in the ring, what happened, it didn't really set the world alight. Although he did do, I think mainly because the skill level between Fury, I'm a big believer. I think Fury performs better when he's got a big challenge, like a lot of top level athletes. He steps up when the challenge is more scary, more likely to put that little nip of adrenaline in his blood. When he has it all his own way, as we've seen even early in his career against Steve Cunningham, he got caught. He sometimes his brain sort of wanders, or he switches off slightly, and that costs him very dearly, almost a couple of times. And even in the first fight with Wilder, I'd say, I mean, for me, Fury won the first fight. We should have won the first fight, but the two knockdowns allowed the decision to go against what I thought was right. Without those knockdowns, there could absolutely be no question. I don't think it was just a question of Fury's brain switching off for a second, him losing focus, losing concentration. I also think it was tiredness. And I think that dictates the tactics in the rematch. I think we're going to see Wilder trying to engage far earlier, trying to get his feet in closer, punching to the body a lot more early on. And Wilder's a very clever guy. I remember when he boxed Aubrey Harrison, first time I saw him fight in the flesh, his first shot knocked Harrison's glove out of the way. You can watch it on YouTube, you'll find it. And the second shot, and it was clearly premeditated to do that, but I was there when it happened. I had a fighter on the bill, and I thought, okay, to do that at the stage, even though he'd had a lot of fights, he boxed Wilder at a very low level. He came into boxing very late. He turned pro. He had this like massive long run of really low level opponents who you'd expect him to knock out, whether it was a puncher or not, because they were nowhere near Olympic medal standard opponents. But then Aubrey Harrison was an Olympic Games gold medalist. We know he's a bit chinny, and it was at right the end of his career, but still a high level performer in his day. And to have dealt with him that easily, I mean, Wilder set him up beautifully. I thought, okay, Wilder may be a little bit better than what people give him credit for. Fury, on the other hand, different beast. I mean, so sometimes Fury, he's supposed to have all these demons and sort of be a bit of a crazy man. I think sometimes he plays off that reputation. For me, when I actually made his first pro fight, Fury, I supplied the opponent, met him a few times. He's never seemed to me like a madman, like a guy that doesn't really know. He's eccentric, he can be very up and down, but I don't get him being like, off the wall mad. I think he's just a bit eccentric and someone that likes to have like a bit of a buzz about him. So the tactics here, what we're going to see, well, I think Wilder, because of the fact that down the stretch in the second half of the fight, Wilder was finding Fury a lot more easy to find with his punches. In the first half, Fury was literally playing with him. You know, we were so far ahead of him. And at times I actually thought, is this Wilder setting up? Because I see Wilder as a crocodile. sort of guy that would sort of sneak in really slow and camouflage himself and then suddenly attack. And I sort of was thinking, is he setting something up down with what he's doing? And maybe he was. He did eventually catch Fury, but I don't think that was the case. I think Fury just boxed his ears off. Fury's movement, his variety, his speed, his balance, there was all these different factors that were just too much for Wilder to keep up with in the first half of the fight. For that reason, I think the second time round, it would play to Wilder's strengths to make this fight more physical, more demanding, more tiring, more quickly, more earlier on in the fight, because then he can bring Fury down to his level earlier in the fight and have longer to land those big shots. When Fury was waning, when he was tiring in the first fight, Wilder did land some very impressive. I mean, the second knockdown, how Fury got up from it is amazing. I mean, he literally looks like he is spark out, and somehow he emerges from the depths of unconsciousness and gets up and makes it to the fight and even wins the rest of the round. I mean, incredible, absolutely amazing, and a feat that I will never forget. I thought it was an amazing performance from Fury for that reason, that he survived. Fury, on the other hand, for me, he needs to keep it at long range. He needs to keep it as tactical and technical as he can throughout the fight. I think if he allows... And Fury might have, in the back of his mind, I think, a bit of a cross to bear, because I think he will have walked away from the ring there thinking, well, I won the fight and I didn't get the decision. And that's not a nice feeling for any boxer to have. And certainly he's had a long time to think about it, and now he's going to go in again. I don't think that, for me, Wilder seems to be like a bit of a bully's mentality. I've actually met Wilder. He was a nice guy when I spoke to him, seemed actually quite articulate and intelligent. I've seen him put out... Why I think he's a bully, because he put out this thing saying he wants a body on his record. Right? I don't think any boxer genuinely wants a body on his record. If you speak to any boxer that's either killed or seriously injured an opponent, there's always remorse there in every case. I've spoke to quite a few. I've never spoke to one who, water off a duck's back. It affects all of them, and as it would most human beings. It's not something that you wish for in a sporting context, because when you box with somebody, you share a brotherhood with them. You become like... I've got guys that I box that 25 years later, they're on my Facebook. We sometimes text each other. We at a show and the other guy's there, we'll go and have a chat. You get a bond with a person when you box them, and you don't. It's just not plausible. I think that is a trick from from Wilder. I think that's something that he says to get into the head of the opponent, and I think this time round, Fury is going to be a lot less frightened, a lot less. I think Fury will allow Wilder to open up. Wilder needs to get his feet in close, go to the body more early, and basically try and turn it into a bit of a trade-off. Wilder has the possibility to take Fury out, granted, so I don't want to see Fury engage for too long with him, but I think this time round, Fury does not want to walk away from the ring thinking, well, I won the fight, but I didn't get the decision. He wants to get it done, and I think he landed so many clean punches in the first half of that fight. He must kick himself a little bit, thinking maybe if I bent my knees a little bit more, got a little bit more leverage in my shots, put a bit more body weight behind them, maybe I could have walked away a winner, because in my book he did anyway walk away a winner, but the judges didn't give that. This time he might take it out of the hands of the judges if he lands some of those big clean shots that he did in the first fight. Wilder didn't actually start boxing till 19, so I think there could be more ascendancy in the skills of Wilder from the last fight to this one, whereas Fury is probably less likely to have improved so much, because, like I say, Wilder started late, and Wilder has shone a bit more in his two fights since the first fight with Fury. So my decision, what do I think? My prediction, I'm going to go for Fury on points. Sorry to be boring, that's what I think. I think Fury on points. I think he could well have some hairy moments along the way, some bumpy moments, but That's what I'm going with. Probably a unanimous points decision this time for Fury. Thanks for watching the blog, and please hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.